Hey, what is up you guys? It is Silver Sun here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my review on Mob Psycho Season 2, Episode 2. Alright, so it starts off with Mob and Reagan taking this train ride out of town to this other town to where there's a whole bunch of urban legends and a whole bunch of bad rumors going around that there's like spirits and stuff like that, and that there's some paranormal activity going on around the city. And so pretty much Mob and Reagan are there to pretty much just kind of, conduct business there because obviously that's Reagan's occupation and whatnot. So they just thought that's like the best spot to go in order to, make some money doing that stuff. So basically, they go in there and they pretty much run into this other guy who I can't remember the name of, but he's pretty much in the same business as Reagan. He's psychic too, and so pretty much they're kind of like competing to see who will actually uncover the legends first and stuff like that, like all the different paranormal monsters and whatnot, and seeing who will actually come out on top in that. Now, one thing I did like about this episode is that it actually introduced a few new characters into the mix, which I thought was pretty nice, pretty cool. Expanding the world of Mob Psycho 100 is always a good thing, in my opinion. But it was really cool to see them get out of their comfort zone, so to say, and traverse to a different place like this. Meeting different people and whatnot, even if it is pretty limited. I think they only meet like three different people. There's the other psychic guy. There's this woman that pretty much needs help with this bad spirit that's pretty much, looking about. She's like real anxious and just real like scared of it and whatnot, saying that there's a whole bunch of rumors circling around, on the internet or amongst the people that, there's a lot of paranormal activity going on around here, and she pretty much needs help with it, and that's what Reagan and Mob are there to do. And also, there's this red hooded guy, which was, I mean, he's pretty much just going to be in this one episode, obviously, because by the end of it, he pretty much gets apprehended and whatnot. But I thought it was pretty funny nonetheless, like seeing him going around being pretty much the antagonist, or at least what would you call it, like the lesser antagonist of this episode, uh, until later on to where the dragger comes out. That's what they call it, and it's pretty like the thing that I like about this episode, especially like well, yeah, I mean especially is because the whole urban legend thing really reminds me of like creepypastas and stuff like that. If you guys have ever even seen or heard of that stuff, it really reminds me of that kind of those kinds of stories. Like Slenderman or Smile Dog or anything of the sort like that. It's kind of like the same thing going on here and whatnot. They're not like they're not like actual spirits like ghosts or dead people or anything like that. They're pretty much just like manifested from the rumors and whatnot. All those, the dragger at least was manifested from all the rumors and the fear that people had in her. Pretty much like came real basically, and so pretty much Mob just went in and stopped it. And the only reason he was able to stop it is because he didn't know what the rumor was about. He had never heard of it. He had never experienced any of that stuff growing up. He was pretty much out of the loop. Whereas as Reagan and everyone else pretty much knew about it, Mob was just pretty much numb to it. He didn't know what was so scary about it, so he pretty much just went in and just blew it back with his psychic powers, and that was pretty much the end of it. But even going on before then with the red hooded guy, I don't think he actually has a name, but I kind of like his design. It's pretty cool and whatnot. But like, it was kind of it was kind of surprising, at least for me, in the fact that he was actually a flasher, which I thought was pretty odd because like I never thought that Mob Psycho would go, you know, down a road like this. But it would still led to some pretty funny jokes, especially with Shinra. I think that's his name, Shinra. Um, because he pretty much like he blew his cover. He blew the red hooded guy's cover by going to a park and pretty much asking kids if they knew anything about any any leads or any sightings to these urban legends that are going about in the city and whatnot, because that's pretty much where it's brewed up from. Is from children on the playground. Just like talking and like uh, making up like stories and whatnot. So pretty much that's where he went to first, and because of that, it pretty much led to them assuming that he was some kind of pedophile. So they pretty much pulled this like car like it sounded like a car alarm, but it was pretty much like um this alert ring or whatever, and pretty much from there the red hooded guy just jumps out of nowhere, assuming that they pretty much blew his cover, and yeah, and then they actually went to like this fight scene, which was kind of cool. It was like it was like a video game like Street Fighter type of fight, to where like like it just looked like a fight game animation type of deal where it's pretty much limited in the movements and such to pretty much emulate that kind of aesthetic, which I thought was pretty cool. But in any case, he pretty much ran off into the forest along with Shinra, and basically he he got confronted by the what would you call it, the digger, or I think that's what his name was, the digger, and it was actually pretty crazy because like he was just standing there and he didn't even care. Like the she was pretty much coming out of the woods and she had like these like baby doll things like strapped up, like tied up behind her and stuff like that. She was just dragging them across the mud and it was raining and everything like that. It was pretty creepy actually, and it got even creepier as he pretty much just got knocked out. Like he had this taser and he was trying to taser with it, but it wasn't doing nothing. And she pretty much reversed the current onto him, and he pretty much just fell out unconscious. And then after that, Shinra actually um, steps in. He pretty much starts fighting the digger along with Dimple, who pretty much you know what would you call it, took over his body, like how we did with Ritsu in season 1 and stuff like that. Which was pretty cool actually, because this guy was like backflipping and like jumping throughout the trees and whatnot. The fight scene was really good, and it's crazy to think because this is just episode 2 and they're already like getting into all this um, really cool choreography and whatnot with the fights and such. But in any case, he's not able to defeat it, and the mob defeats it, like I said before. But also, uh, there's actually this other scene at the end of the episode to where Mob, Reagan, and Dimple are pretty much in this tunnel, and there's like this running granny uh, story, this kind of sighting that there's this grandma and she's like running in the tunnel, but nobody really believes it. It's just a rumor, and so pretty much Reagan and Mob are there to pretty much prove that the legend's true and whatnot. Because after they defeated the Digger, Reagan couldn't snap a photo of it to prove that it's a true thing. So they pretty much went for the next best thing, which was the running granny in the tunnel. And while it didn't offer much, like in terms of like much of anything really, but like it was pretty cool to see nonetheless. Them just like in the tunnel, and then the granny pretty much running after them. They were all scared and stuff like that, but it was really nothing to be scared of because she pretty much just ran right past them. And it was still pretty cool to see like all the different angles and shots they did as she was running past Mob. Because we all know Mob isn't really that athletic. He can't run for anything, and so pretty much she just bolted right past him. She was running fast as heck too. Like she was like the freaking Flash in that tunnel. But basically, she just blitzed right past him, and Mob just fell down. And he was pretty much saddened by that. He was like, "Oh, like I run every day, but that old lady still beat me in running," and that's pretty pathetic. I have to agree. But it was still pretty funny, a funny joke at the end. But at the very end, like in the last few minutes, Reagan actually shows that he made this website of his, and it was pretty cool. Actually, I mean, it wasn't like cool. Like obviously, there's some stuff you could change about it, but in any case, it's pretty cool. Like for his business, at least. At least now he's got like a place that people could go to see what he's all about, to get more info on the guy and what his business actually is about. But yeah, it seems like from the preview to the next episode, to episode 3, it looks like stuff's gonna get a bit more serious. I'm not entirely sure what's gonna happen. I mean, my assumption is that, like, based on the title, I think it's like one bad thing after another is what it's called, something like that, or degradation, degradation. So I feel like it's just gonna be like in the beginning, it's gonna be pretty good, pretty chill and whatnot, and then by the end of it, obviously, there's gonna be a whole bunch of stuff just happening and a whole bunch of things just going off the handle. And based on what I saw from the trailer for this season, the PV trailer, I'm pretty sure like by the end of this episode, it's gonna be Reagan pretty much just out of business. His apartment, or no, not apartment, his office space pretty much just taken apart, all the furnishing gone, like how we saw in the trailer. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to appear by the end of this episode, I'd assume. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but we'll just have to wait and see. But aside from that, I thought this episode was pretty good. In a way, it's kind of filler because it doesn't really go based off of the main plot. It's just kind of like a side story in a way. It did introduce a few new characters, and it was really fun to see. The current characters, just going out and just like, getting a bit, not really character development, just like adding a bit more character to them and stuff like that. Just having them go on like this one random wacky adventure, so to say. I thought it was pretty good. But tell me what you guys thought in the comments below. And until the next one, Silver Sun is out.